Thank you so much for joining us today for the White Star Quarry presentation. I'm Linda Pansing, the 3-year trustee for the Ohio Council of Skin and Scuba Divers. And I want to start by saying how excited we are to bring you this presentation. The Council's mission is to be an advocate for Ohio diving in promotional, legal, research, safety, education, and environmental matters. We're excited to fulfill that mission by offering live programs online during the coronavirus pandemic. We invite you to visit our website, OCSSDI.org, and also like us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We encourage you, your dive club or dive-related business, to join the Council. Membership links are included on our web and Facebook pages. By working together, we can accomplish great things. The Council's main project this year is working toward getting a dive-related license plate. You can find more information on this pinned to the top of our Facebook page. We were also going to host a couple of Feed the Divers events at local quarries, but we'll hold off on them at the moment until we get more guidance from the state. Next, a few housekeeping notes. First, this session is being recorded. Second, if you have questions during the program, please use the chat feature at the bottom of your screen. Our presenter will answer as many questions as he can following the presentation. Thank you again for joining us. And now I want to introduce our presenter, Rich Synowiec. Rich is the owner of Divers Incorporated and operator of the scuba station at White Star. I'll turn it over to him now.
Excited about White Star. Looking through the people that popped on, I know that most of you guys have been there. I've seen a lot of familiar faces. I see a lot of people that a lot of this stuff isn't going to be new, but when I'm doing a program like this, the best thing that I do with it is I take and I start from a point of where nobody knows anything. So I'm going to take you from a little bit of the beginning and it'll go fast. It'll be probably about a half hour plus questions. So we'll go ahead and hopefully technology works well for me. So it becomes a new norm when you're doing this Zoom thing, and we've had a lot of fun with it. So what we're going to do is I'm going to talk about White Star as a whole, a little bit of history there. I'm going to talk about our response to COVID-19. And when I say our response, it's a little bit of Divers Incorporated, a little bit of Divers Incorporated at White Star, a whole lot of the directors and the board members and the rangers and all that at the quarry, and a little bit about discussions between the difference between what Governor Gretchen is doing and what Governor DeWine is doing, because the Ohio stuff is a little bit different. A lot of faces in here from Michigan, a lot of faces in here from Indiana and Pennsylvania. And I want to kind of give you a whole lot of things that you can do to be able to take through that. So, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about the concession at White Star. There's some things that I've changed, some things that we're rebuilding, some things that we're working on. A lot of this was already in the pipeline, which is kind of a good thing because I had a big budget for reconstruction of things at the quarry. That budget is helping us stay in business as a dive shop. So we're going to talk a little bit about underwater conditions and sites to see. And for you guys that have not been here before, a little bit of where to stay and things to do in the area, because it's a really cool thing to do. So White Star Quarry opened as a dive park in 1977, and this picture predates the beach. If you look over here on the bottom of the picture, that predates the beach. And right after this picture was taken is when they started filling it up. They actually blasted the side of this and turned it into the beach. It is a very small part. White Star Quarry is a very small part of an 800-acre park system, and I do believe that 800 acres is now a little bit more than that. It's run by the Sandusky County Park District. And the Sandusky County Park District are the ones that take care of the rangers. They take care of making sure that divers and fishermen and campers all get together and do that. But there is a huge amount of stuff available to you as a park, which I'm going to talk about a little bit because it's a good chunk. I'm only worried about the diving, but we've got horseback riding, they've got trails, they've done a ton of stuff if you haven't been out there in a while. The park is right now open for diving from 8 a.m. to dusk. It's from April 1st to December 31st every year. It's kind of a hit or miss at the beginning of the year. You can roll the dice. For you guys, this year was great, and it was early. It was early, and then we have COVID, which kept a lot of people at home. But we were out there diving as early as the second week of March, which was kind of nice. So this is a map of the entire park, and I like this map a lot. This is from lovemyparks.com. That is the Sandusky County Park District's website. About 3 years ago, they said that they wanted to focus on their message. So you saw a lot of the stuff from my White Star Quarry page turn into a line that says, go to love my parks, because they wanted their message. My message is for the diving. My message is for the people that are listening to me here primarily, but there is a lot more to go through. Now, their map is not quite as good as our map, but if you look, it's a really small part. White Star Quarry is a really small part of the whole park system, And the campsite here, we'll talk a little bit about that in just a minute. For you guys that are not familiar with the underwater site map, this is available to you at whitestarquarry.com. It needs to be updated. We have 3 new sites that are on here. The first site is an orchestra that is up over here by the wooden boat, fiberglass boat. It is buoyed now, and it has a buoy. We also have the swing set, which everybody has seen, which is right here. That is not buoyed, but will be buoyed by the end of May, if everything goes right. We've had some problems with buoys being cut. I don't know by who, but whatever. The dock entrance is no longer here. It's an entrance only. There's an exit. We did have budgeted putting another fins on ladder there. That's been put on hold due to budgetary concerns, but we're kind of moving down that road and down that path. I just have to get someone to write up plans. And then we have the bubble, the John Norris bubble. John Norris, you guys remember a couple years back, he had a dive shop out by Cleveland, and he unfortunately passed away from cancer. But before he did, he donated a 1969 decor. They called it a telephone booth, and that is down there as part of our underwater attraction sites. We do have some other things coming. There's a bus that is currently being cleaned out. There's a couple other things that we have that I don't want to talk about because I don't like jinxing it. But the bus is really close, and we'll see how that goes with the whole budgetary concerns that go on, because we just don't have the money to do stuff like that right now. So let's talk about my response and our response to COVID-19. This has been a weird time, and it's been one that I've taken and approached from a very positive standpoint. I've looked at it from a standpoint that I've had a really healthy business. I've had a pretty healthy way of doing things. We were mandated by the university, by 3 organizations that we work to stay open as Divers Incorporated, Ann Arbor, and then we were mandated and told we were allowed to stay open because all of our facilities are outside at White Star. So we've been open this whole time, and I've been paying people to be there at White Star. Most of it's been run by my family. So we're all one single parent household, or one single parent, I said that wrong. Nothing's changed between Jill and I. I have a single household, and we've all been there. The girls are now 14. They did have work permits to come work there, and there you'll see them down there. And Shipwrecks my dog is still part of the team as well. But scuba diving has been, since day one, it has been an allowed outdoor activity during the COVID-19 responses by all 4 states that border within driving distance of White Star. Now, the only one that's questionable, well, only 2 that are questionable, is Illinois says you can't cross the state lines, and Pennsylvania can't cross the state lines, but all the divers that have been coming from Illinois and Pennsylvania seem to be ignoring that message. There is the whole thing is this is going to a park. From wherever you are, coming to White Star is the same as walking outside around town. It is a park. And that's the approach that we have. I did seek higher guidance from the park districts, the director, and I've talked to their board of directors. That's what I was looking for, and they've talked to their attorney, and that all fit within the President DeWine's COVID-19. It also fit within Governor Gretchen's COVID-19 response. Outdoor activity is allowed. Now, they'll tell you all these things, stay at home. The idea behind stay at home is stay at home if you're sick. Stay at home if you're scared. Stay at home if you don't have the responsibility to social distance. But for the most part, you can come and go scuba diving. And I will argue in a minute that scuba diving is probably one of the safest sports you can do. And it's funny to say that because it's not always the case. One of the big questions that I got all the time for this was Governor DeWine wanted a 14-day mandatory stay if you came to Ohio. Well, it's only a 14-day quarantine if you intended to stay. So clarification, again, seeking clarification, no quarantine is necessary if you do not intend to stay. So if you're going to come and stay at your cousin's house, you have to stay there for 14 days. You can leave, fine. Your cousin has to stay there for 14 days because you contaminated him. That was how the intent was. If you wanted to come to a hotel, you did not have an intent to stay at that hotel. That was just a destination to move to the next destination. So if you came with your family or you came with a group, you can quarantine in the group you came with until you leave to return. And that was kind of a thing that I wanted to look at, where because unfortunately there is no end in sight to the quarantine as far as camping is concerned. And I'll talk about that in a second. But campgrounds have not, I was on the phone with 5 people today to ask them dates for when that, and they just can't. There's no real guidance here from anybody. So what my suggestion is whatever your state is saying, whether it's a 10-person minimum, it was a 10-person group maximum at in Michigan, then our governor kept backing that number down. Then they don't even know what the number is anymore. I'm going to say, make it look as, be safe, wear your masks, wear your wash your hands a lot. There's sanitizer everywhere at the quarry. But the whole thing here is, I want you to feel safe. I want you to enjoy yourself. So don't think that this is I don't want peer pressure to bring you to diving. I know why people haven't come diving. It's been freaking cold. We cut our grass in Michigan and we had 4 inches of snow on the lawn the next day. I don't get what the weather's doing, but this whole global warming thing has to actually figure out what it's doing. So moving on. What we've done, and if you want to read this, it's under the news flash at whitestarquarry.com. So whitestarquarry.com, I update what our current status is as far as the COVID-19, as far as things that they've been doing. They did have a no fishing rule for a while. That's been updated if everybody's allowed to fish, but the social distancing guidelines in place, and they're super easy to accomplish. I'm going to give you a little bit about the guidelines in a second, but I want to just tell you this. This is how it was worded to me. Rich, we have to close fishing, and because the fishermen cannot social distance. Their fish, the trout, if they knew they were released, and they have been released, and this is the coolest time ever to go dive in White Star because there's fish everywhere. But the whole thing here was these guys were side by side. The health department said, no, shut it down. And the way that he looked at me was, he said, I had to shut down fishing. I was able to save diving. But the second you get up on social media with all your divers hugging on each other, the rule is up. I'm done. I have to close it. And so that's been the message that I've been giving to everybody that's coming down here. And I really do appreciate the dive shops that have been coming there, and they've been supporting me on this. They make fun of me by standing arm in arm way out like this to make sure that they're 6 feet apart. But I'll take that. I'll take the ribbing because it's been fantastic. The guidelines are 1 picnic table per household. Now, what the Park District did was they dumped a crap ton of new picnic tables. All of their what do you call it? Their buildings that they have for campouts and cookouts and all that, those are all closed, and you can't, the pavilions, you can't rent the pavilions. Our pavilion is open, but the changing rooms are closed. Yesterday, retail was opened up in Ohio. And so what the guidelines were at the time of this thing was you had to have masks in the retail area. Now they're just recommended. I changed that today. Masks in the retail area recommended. I'm only allowed 1 or 2 people. We can't fit more than 3 people in our retail space at the quarry, but we will have, starting this weekend, we will have a whole list of stuff that you can rent and you can borrow. And then we also have all those things that you normally forget or lose or show up without. The masks outside are recommended, but they're not required. My thing is understand that the mask is there to protect everyone else from you. So I look at it as a common courtesy. I'm not wearing a mask most of the time, but I don't want you within 6 feet of me. We have barricades and ropes, and I'll show you pictures like that. But I do have a buff that I got from Hollis. I put it up over my face if I'm going to be over there. And I wear it primarily because I have really bad allergies, and the pollen is everywhere. I get a pollen alert from Gibsonburg every single morning. And so the last thing I want to do is to be shot for sneezing on somebody. So it kind of comes down to, if I feel like I'm going to sneeze, I'll throw that thing up over my face just in case. So for the month of May, the whole quarry staff on the Divers Incorporated station there is my family. It's me, Jill, Natalie, and Olivia. So they would love to see you. We all have far too long of a hair. We've all been cooped up far too long, but we would love to see you, and we're looking forward to having diving come back. We have been disinfecting our tanks and all the stuff that we touch. I have ungodly amounts of sanitizer available to me. We do bring it down bottled from Michigan because there is no running water. The changing rooms and other buildings are closed, but they have a big, huge porta potty you can change in if you want. It's one of those giant 4 wheelchair ones. They have tons of hand sanitizer. They're restocking it. They have actually been really good about restocking the toilet paper. They've been real stock, and they've been so short staffed. What they asked me to do is they said no tents allowed. So there's a couple of things when it was really cold, people were really mad at me. They were taking and putting up their pop-ups and then they were tarping all around it, putting a heater in it, and then letting everybody go in there at once. That's not social distancing. And so that was one of the things that they said that absolutely cannot happen. Pop-ups are okay, but remain 1 per household. Don't let everybody, you shouldn't be out there doing potluck. You shouldn't be out there doing food. And I think Linda mentioned that there's some things, and I'll mention that too, but you should basically make sure it's not that I'm afraid of it. It's not that you're afraid of it. I don't really care what your opinion is, but just look at it that if you get us crucified on social media, the gig is up and we're going to have to close. So that's kind of what I'm asking everybody to do, is just make sure that you're beyond reproach in what you're looking for. Now, there's something really cool about scuba diving. It's arguably the safest sport you can participate in a pandemic. You have the near equivalent of a level B hazmat suit when you're kitted up. If within 6 feet, like you walk in with your buddy says, hey, I can't get my fin on. You're going to go, okay, hold on a second. You're going to put your mask on. You're going to put your regulator on. You're going to walk over and help him put his fins on. And then when you're not going to let that regulator come out of your mouth. You're going to back up off that regulator because you can still spit on the guy, but maybe he puts his regulator on or his mask on. And I'm talking real scuba masks. And by the way, I have an Amazon store and they took all of our scuba masks off the Amazon store because we weren't allowed to sell masks. I thought that was kind of cute. That's why I want to do it. But keep your distance above water and be diligent. Look at it from a standpoint of you do not want to end up on the 6 o'clock news as the guy who closed White Star Quarry. So what we have is a benefit, though, in that it's going the right way, in my opinion. We're opening back up. This is the coolest thing, though. No social distancing is required underwater. Once you put that regulator on and mask in place, you can go underwater and you can swim. Now, I think there's probably some concerns. Patty has come out with some concerns about, hey, if you run out of air, you might give someone COVID. Well, if I run out of air, the last thing I'm going to worry about is getting sick because I might die. So the whole idea is just be aware of the idea that you don't want to be going doing buddy breathing and all that kind of stuff for giggles. You want to kind of just go down and have some fun. As always, if you don't feel well, if you feel sick, please stay at home until you're well again. Diving will be here when you are better. And that's kind of my message for the whole COVID thing. If you have questions, write them down. But my whole thing is on whitestarquarry.com. You look at a big, huge blue banner will pop up and you look down newsflash, click it. And it has a 2-page deal of everything that we're feeling down there. My guidance, other people's guidance. It's not all me. But the Scuba Concession is normally these are open. So what I want you guys to do is if you reach out to me and say, Rich, I'm going to have a class down there, or Rich, I'm going to be down there with a group of people and I really need you to be there for air fills. We will be there for air fills, but our normal hours right now are from our weekends and they're not normal. We're doing 10 to 2 or 10 to when everyone leaves. And the deal is I don't really want to have to pay people if there's nobody there to get air fills. The only thing that I do down there is air fills and gas fills and nitrox fills. So we do the park hires us to take care of the envelopes, but all that is a pass through. So I'd like to get to a point where we're there 9 to 4 Saturdays and Sundays. I'm planning on still being open at 9 a.m. on Memorial Day weekend. From 9 to 3, but please, if you really need something before 10 o'clock in the morning, make sure that I know you really need something before 10 o'clock in the morning. Jill and I answer all the messages on Facebook at the White Star Quarry Facebook page, so you can get an answer from us pretty darn quick, especially since Jill's working from home, and we're all not doing the stuff that we normally do. In June, we hope to open up to expanded hours. Our normal hours in June are 8 to 5 on Saturdays, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Sundays. For the time being, we will not have night diving until the camping opens. I have to commute from Monroe, Michigan to be able to do this. Some of my staff are commuting from Ann Arbor, Michigan. We do have a young lady hired from Fremont, which is going to be it's going to be a godsend for most of my life. But but it's 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturdays, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Sundays, and then I'll be there 10 to 2 on Wednesdays. Now, for anybody that's been down there 10 to 2, I usually try to go diving because that's what I like to do. So there's a sign up that says, hey, we're diving, leave your tanks by the gate, and we'll take care of it. We are still planning on being open July 4th, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. We're still planning on being open Labor Day, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. So in September, October, we're going back to 9 to 4s for the weekends. So that, and we'll go that through October 31st. Anything beyond that, because it's going to be a late start to the year, if you need me beyond that, you just got to let me know. We'll work through it. I'm not sure what the future holds, but I'm being really positive about it. Being really positive about it, I want to kind of announce some things that we've put into place at the Scuba Concession that were already budgeted to be in place, that I kind of sped up because a lot of the dive shops are not opening up to full capacity. A couple of my friends have lost their shop already. A couple of my friends have said, screw it, I'm done. I don't know what the aftermath of all this is going to be. A lot of the charter boat companies that I used to deal with, and I still will deal with them, they're not even putting their boats in the water this year. It's just not financially going to be feasible because they're going to have such a late start. They just can't get answers. So we've done a couple things because we're seeing a lot more technical divers at White Star. Our air fills are still oxygen compatible air. They're still $10. No pricing has changed. It's still $20 for the diving. Our nitrox fills are still $15. Those haven't changed. We are able to do custom fills with an O2 tank cleaning. So if you need a nitrox tank fill that's 50%, you need something that's a little bit off. We ask for a little bit of time, and hopefully the only people that aren't trained to be mixed gas, to do the mixed gas mixing, they're Natalie and Olivia. That's going to happen, but they're not old enough yet. But there's custom fills available for nitrox. We also have oxygen fills for rebreather. New this year is I have a booster down there. So we can do oxygen fills, we can do argon fills, we do trimix fills right at the quarry. Now you don't really need trimix at the quarry, but the idea was, and this was coming from other dive shops who don't want to invest in a booster, they said, we still want to do technical diving, but we can't get trimix real easy. Can you do it for us? And we have been doing it for them for a couple of years now, where they drop it off on Saturday on one weekend and I drive it all the way up there, fill it in Ann Arbor and drive it home. Now we're doing it all at once. The idea is you drop off your doubles, go do your single tank class, come back, pick up your doubles, and we're good to go. So we follow PADI recommendations in regard to tank labeling, VIPs, and hydros. I know there's people out there that are going, stupid PADI. I don't want to hear it. We can argue it. We can look at it from a standpoint of a bunch of different ways. But the idea is I want something that's showing me that tank has something other than air. For VIPs, hydros are federal. We're going to not discuss that. But for VIPs, I need to know who did the inspection. For you guys bringing down these filled with or inspected things that are bought online, I'm not taking them. The ones that if you're even the ones I talked to Bill High about it many years ago, he said they're supposed to have the number on it, but now I need to have somebody just take an address label and put it on it. I know a lot of people are doing their own inspections, and a lot of people are doing their own inspections because they know they can be done right at that point. I get it, but there's a lot of people doing things wrong. So I have to hold a standard that's theirs. So just understand that's not being a jerk. That's just making sure my family and staff are safe. Moving on, the retail store will still have accessories of things lost and forgotten. Our rental equipment is going to be the same, but we have expanded our rentals to be a huge amount of stuff. I had to, not related to COVID at all, related to complete not meeting its goals. I closed our Monroe store up in Monroe, Michigan in January. And so now I have 2 stores worth of stuff in one store, and now or 3 stores worth of stuff in 2 stores, and now we're going to have 3 stores worth of stuff in 2 stores. I'm still going to tell you it'll be cheaper for you to rent it at your local dive center. I am a big supporter of local dive center. If anybody on this list has not called your local dive center in the last month, shame on you. Tell them you still want them. Tell them they're still around. Make them feel great. Guys, we're stressed out of our minds right now with what's going on in the world. And I know a lot of you are too. But diving, if you were a travel agent, I don't know if you've been following the news, but if you were going to some of these destinations, Utila is closed indefinitely. Honduras is closed indefinitely. We can't fly for a while, and then Cayman just closed until September. So it's not looking good for a lot of stuff. On the other side of things from travel, as far as your local dive center is concerned, as far as travel is concerned, travel is dirt cheap right now. If you pre-book it and pay in advance, it's dirt cheap. And they're giving you huge, there's no such thing anymore of the non-refundable payment. You can do fully refundable, you can do fully refundable and transferable, you can do transferable. I'm going to tell you, transferable is just fine. Guys, let them use your money for a little while. You're going to get to go on the trip. The airlines are letting you reschedule 2 years out. That's huge right now. And that's unheard of. So everybody's getting behind this. But 1 in 10 jobs in the world right now is travel related. And that's really, we've shut that up. 10% of the jobs probably will not be here afterwards, including coming to White Star. Right now, for what we're doing is we're still doing prepackaged foods. We're doing food, drinks, candy, chips, and we've decided to throw fruit cups and cereal bars in there because the cereal bars were kind of tongue firmly planted in cheek because the guy at 8:30 in the morning say, why aren't hot dogs ready? Because he didn't get breakfast. We're going, now we can have cereal bars. So it's right now for the COVID-19 thing, until the water's running back at the concession there, I don't want to do hot dogs, coffee, and hot chocolate. It's just something that, again, I don't have a problem with it. You can't get this from food that you're eating, but you can get it from surfaces that people touch, and a lot of people touch the hot chocolate handles, and a lot of people touch the stuff. I'm not nervous about it, but again, I have to be beyond reproach in order to stay open, and that's real important to us. So that's kind of the understanding behind it. And I hate to bring back to COVID-19 because I'm all about diving. So let's talk about the amenities at White Star. This was taken last Sunday. As you can see, they stacked it with a lot of extra picnic tables. If we need more, I'll get more. If you need more and we're down there, say, Rich, we're out of picnic tables. We'd really like to have a picnic table. I'll go find some. The park is awesome when it comes to that kind of stuff, as long as they have the people available. They have had sicknesses. They have had people that have had to go home. They've been on half staff for a while now because they're just not able to fund it. So there's just, everybody needs to be a little bit more above board about that. But this is, the flowers are out. The quarry is beautiful. Its grass is green. There's dandelions everywhere. And it's just been really pretty. The water's been amazingly clear. So it's been good. It is flipping. It was flipping last weekend. So it will have a thermocline, and it will be something that, that will mean that we're going to have some pretty clear water coming up. Normally we have flush toilets and running water. In a meeting today, they don't know. They're waiting for the health department to give them okay. Everything's ready within a week. So as soon as we get a health department okay that we can open up the flush toilets and running water, that's going to be it. The changing room that is at White Star has been scheduled to close for 2 years. It is going to be a rebuild. We're going to be able to put it in as far as services are concerned. It was always scheduled to close for a remodel. And it's never going to be a changing room again. It's going to be part of the retail space. I've been asked to get rid of the shed where the compressors are. The sheds are going to be moved in it. I'm still fighting that, but we're going to kind of expand our rentals, expand our way of doing things down there, and it'll be a growing pains for everything. But the bathroom area, all those ADA accessible bathrooms, we're supposed to have a bench. Now, if you've been over to the campsite and you've been in the shower, you go in the shower and it flips down in a bench you can sit on. Those benches are all going to be in all those rooms. The reason that the changing room didn't close last year was because they missed that on the budget line. They are all bought. They're all paid for. They're all sitting in the shed over at the maintenance shed for the park. We're just waiting for COVID to open up so that they can be installed. So now your changing rooms will be each one of those really clean bathrooms with the toilet, with the sink and the flushable everything. I'm really excited about that because that's what the intent was when they put it together. Online reservations will continue when camping is open. Right now, if you've made a reservation while it's closed, you need to go to lovemyparks.com and read up on it. They are being so cool about it. You can get all your money back if you need to. You can move it to another open date if you need to. You can take it as a gift certificate if you need to. So if you were really on the ball and you got your reservation, I wouldn't cancel those reservations until you are told you can't come. So that's kind of the way that I wanted to approach that. The other thing that they put in there, they put a serious amount of time, energy, and effort into hiking trails. If you haven't been out there, Where the old pit toilets were, to the left of it, there's some ruins from the old thing that's out there. And with those ruins, right next to it, there's a paved gravel trail for bikes and for walking. That goes all the way around the quarry. You can walk all the way around the quarry on a hiking trail, and even more, there's other things. They still have the beach, they still have the playground. The beach pavilion has been amazing. It was really pretty at the end of last year. They've done a really good job with that. The playground's still awesome. The playground is closed up. You can't do that. Pavilions are all closed up, and the barn's all closed up because of COVID-19. We're still doing the self check-in. That's been something that there are some people out there that are bucking the system, and I kind of want to mention that because we had that happen today. If you get in the water without doing a blue envelope, you are subject to a $100 fine if caught. Even if you had all the intentions of putting it in the water, even if you took that blue envelope and you put the $20 in and you set it on you meant to go drop it and you went, oh crap, I got to go do this. And you put it on your dash and it's sitting on your front all ready to go. It's still a $100 fine. Please don't do that, guys. This doesn't cost a whole lot to dive. I don't think there's people doing it nefariously, but I would hope not, but it does look bad. Again, it's all about appearances. Something else that I want to talk about with the honor system is that White Star Quarry, for qualified individuals who hold the certification, it was a fight that I've been doing for 3 years. It does allow solo diving with a permit. Now, when you say, what is the permit I need to do? It's very specific. It is on whitestarquarry.com. On the top part where you go under diving, it says solo diving. Click on that. It'll take you to a link, and it'll give you all these millions of rules that you have to do. As far as rules are concerned, their park, their rules. It is a compromise that we have. And if you don't like it, don't solo dive there. That's my opinion of it. I have put a ton of time, energy, and effort into it. I've talked to a lot of people. They've been very supportive. They want it to be okay. But these are the things that concern them. If you have a rebreather, you're not allowed to dive solo. Their idea was, and if you are diving solo, you have to tow a flag or a buoy. They want to look at a buoy and see bubbles. That's kind of the way that the thing comes down. And you have to have all of the stuff that solo diving requires. It doesn't just mean diving alone. It means self-reliant diver. If you don't know what self-reliant diving is, on that page, there's a list of instructors that teach self-reliant diving. I'm not the only one there. There's 4 or 5 of them. There's got to be one near you. As a thing on this, if you have an instructor you know is a solo diver and they're not listed there, they need to just contact me with their information. I'm not making people pay for that. I'm not doing it. It's a service. I need you to dive there. That's my job. And that's what I want you all to do. So remember that White Star is open to all visitors, just divers. A lot of the guys that are coming there for fishing can't read the sign that says don't walk on the dock. You're welcome to talk to them about it. Please don't make a big deal of it. Everybody is there to do a reason. Fishing with an Ohio license is allowed at White Star, so please be courteous to fishermen, be courteous to people there, and that. So we're sharing the whole park. It's not just diving. Some things with this is the part of the thing I want to kind of talk to you a little bit about my plans and my look-see and kind of where I'm going with it. You guys already know there's 3 training platforms at 20 feet. They're getting kind of old, and so the buoys are out, and one of them sunk last year, and I'm getting a little bit behind at replacing it. But this is one of the things that I foresee. We're going to have 3 training platforms at 20 feet, still like we did before, but one of those training platforms I may move up to 3 feet. And the reason that I may move it up to 3 feet and bring it into the shore is because in Michigan and in Ohio, the scarcity of swimming pools to be able to train in is becoming a real problem. We do not see swimming pools opening until the end of August. And at the end of August, that is pretty much our year. If they don't open with the school systems, if the school systems don't open back up, a lot of these dive shops won't have a pool. So instead of having everybody stand on the bottom, I'm looking for alternatives. If you have any lumber or treated lumber or anything that you can that you know of somebody that'll be donated, if you know people that'll do that, it's really hard in this kind of stuff. I don't necessarily have the money to build another platform, but I'm trying to get another platform built. I'd like to put one at 3 feet this year. I'd like to put one at 10 feet for this year, and I'd like to put 3 at 20 feet this year. For right now, we have 2 training platforms up at 20 feet, so you can start your open water certifications if you're an instructor. We do have the permanent platform, which is sometimes people don't know about it. It's a secret. We do have that orange buoy on it, but it vanished last year, and so you might not know it's there. But right off the ladder entrance on the north side of the quarry. If you swim over the blockhouse, up on that mountain at 26 feet of water, there's another platform there. It was the old dock that sunk, and we never got it back up. It was just too heavy. But pool-like conditions in the shallow walk-in entrance. Again, if a person's taking class, if you're using it as a pool, they still have to fill out an envelope. It's still diving. Look at your own training agency standards to make sure that's there. So we're looking at, for COVID-19, looking at a shallower platform for training. The walk-in entrance and it's still going to be there. It's still going to be a walk-in. The tree is gone. If you haven't been out there in a while, it's a little bit more open. And then the walk-in entrance with the ladder is still there, and that's still planning. And again, we had budgeted for another walk-in entrance that's being kicked down the road a little bit, but it would be, if you looked at the Scuba Concession, it would be to those 2 picnic tables to the right, and we would jump in right there. It'd be just almost directly right in the middle of the east wall. So we have lots of underwater sites and relics. To talk about it, people have been really good about sneaking in some really cool stuff for the enchanted forest. There's a mermaid out there now. There's a couple of mushroom patches. There's a couple of little antiques that are kind of there. I don't know that I'm not allowed to condone it, but I'm not going to put it away. If it becomes something that you like to put it in there and it becomes missing, it's because somebody complained about it and I need to pick it up. There are some things that are being maliciously or accidentally broken. Those will end up being thrown away or moved or put into a pile of other stuff and that sort of thing. So just be aware that there's a lot of stuff that's out there. We do have some new things out there. The visibility has been incredible for the last up to this last weekend has been just incredible. There's been nobody out there, so I mean we've been averaging about 12 divers a weekend. So it's really been nice and clear, and most of those divers are from my shop. So it's been fun. There's 14 underwater acres to explore. Lots of cool stuff to see. If you haven't been out there, you really do need to come out and see it. It's a good time. I enjoyed a lot. So everybody asked me about conditions, and I am the guy that runs the website. So I don't always get to update it, because if I don't go diving there and nobody tells me what the update is, I can't tell you. A lot of times it doesn't change, but this is a really good slide to tell you exactly how things are going for the most part. April to May, it's usually 40 to 50 degrees, 50 to 100 foot visibility. June, it's 50 degrees as of last Sunday. June, July, it's 55 to 70 degrees, 40 to 60 foot visibility. August to September, it's 65 to 75 degrees, which is Caribbean-like temperatures, but the visibility, we pay for it with visibility. If it's really cold, the visibility is great. If it's really warm, the visibility is crappy. That's pretty much what it is. And I've never seen it worse than 10 feet, just so you know, in all the years that I've been diving it. October to mid-November, it's 40 to 50 degrees, backdropping. The temperature drops about pumpkin carving contest. We start getting really clear visibility again. And then mid-November to December, we get epic visibility. In December, if you go out there in December, you can have days where you swear to God you can see China. It's just amazing. One thing I want to note, because I've got an audience here that's willing to listen, that I kind of want to note on. The whole thing here is 7 out of 10 days in 2008, we track it. At our end of day sheet, we say, what was the weather and what was it forecasted? And 7 out of the 10 days, the weather was better than forecasted at White Star. So if you're sitting at home and you're going, God, this weather looks crappy, make a call down there, or we used to have a webcam, but it failed. But make a call down there, take a look. A lot of times the weather will go right around White Star. Now we've been slammed. I won't argue that we've had some pretty epic days where we've just been trashed. But for the most part, if the weather is showing bad, it's not as bad at White Star. God loves me or something like that. Last thing I want to talk about with underwater sites and conditions. For those of you guys that don't know, Sandusky County has an EMS van, a paramedic van stationed at White Star. It is they lease part of the building that the park maintenance building, and so there's always an ambulance at White Star. Very rarely is there not, and we do plan a planned response to divers emergencies. It is a very specific response. Every time someone comes to us and says, I don't feel well, or I think I hurt myself, or boy, I don't know what's going on, or I don't feel good, or we have a diver missing, we have the same exact response. The cool thing about these county EMS is they don't have to transport you. So they just come over to you and they can examine you, they can look at you, and then you can have a medical guy look at you and say, do you need a transport or you don't? That's real important to you, because I've been yelled at because someone says, hey, I had a person come up too fast, she doesn't feel good. I turn to my staff and I say, call 911, and I've been yelled at for calling 911. It's not that bad. I don't know it's not that bad. I've got 20 years of medical training, but it's been 20 years ago. So it's not a medical experience, because it's been 20 years ago since I was a paramedic in Detroit. I don't want to have to make those decisions. There's better people for that, and I don't want the liability. And in the unlikely event that something's really bad, we're going to have a helicopter on the way. We're going to have an ambulance on the way. Pretty much everybody in the county. We got 3 different response teams: police, county, fire, and then, I just lost my... You there still? Nope. Huh. What just happened?
I don't see it.
Have video. Huh.
Still hear you though, Rich.
Okay, well, you can still hear me, but I can't see you. Something just cracked on my machine. Odd. All right, well, if you guys can still hear me, the cool thing now is that I guess I can't see anything and I can't hear anything.
Yeah, we can hear you and see you, boss.
Sweet. All right, so can you see my slides?
Nope.
All right, so something happened with my computer. I don't know what happened. As long as we're here, then we're good. So now I guess I can, that brings us to the end. I was going to close at that and then open up with any questions that you guys might have. But I can't see anything, so you'll have to help me out with that.
If you guys want to put in any comments or anything, I can share them with Rich or Linda can, and kind of facilitate it that way. Seeing as we're having some difficulties here, but no problem.
See if
Oh, there's Miss Linda.
Okay.
Hi, Linda.
We do have a question about, do you have an idea of the approximate cost you might be looking at for materials for the platform?
I don't. I haven't really priced it out. Lumber-wise, I'm thinking it's going to be anywhere between $300 and $500 each. But it's something that I just haven't quite got to yet. I have a bunch of people looking into it for me, but I haven't had an answer yet back for it.
Okay. And we also had another comment that, yes, the fish were definitely out over at White Star last week.
I am trying to get on, while I'm looking down, guys, as I'm trying to get on my phone. Maybe I can see you guys. I feel lonely right now. Where it is.
Here's a question. First
Go
off,
ahead.
great presentation.
Thanks.
You go over the policy for diving the tunnel.
Okay. All right, there it is. Let's see if we can start this on my phone. At least I can see you. Maybe you guys will see me, but let's go. So the tunnel, it is only weekends, because this was it was an agreement that we did a couple years back. The agreement was that on weekends, we would allow people to access the tunnel with a permit. The permit's real easy. You come on to you come up to the concession. You bring your advanced open water card or higher, because the entrance is deeper than 60 feet. And there, I think I got this. Maybe. Can you see me? Now I got 2 of them. I don't know how that's going to be, so I'm going to leave the audio off. I don't know that, so you can see me, but you can't see anything else. So now I can see myself, so I don't feel so lonely. I can't see you guys, but the idea of the tunnel, here it is. Somebody did something stupid in the tunnel about 15 years ago. It caused the lawyers of the park to say, I don't want anybody in the tunnel anymore. And so they closed the tunnel for that brief period of time. When I started it in 2007, that was one of my main things, because people were doing it anyway. I didn't want them to get in trouble. So the idea here was, let's come up with a permit process. And that we kind of used that permit process to do the solo diving permit process, which is really, it's all about permits. When I was out there ice diving, I had to have a permit to be out there ice diving. So it's all about it being approved to be on the park property. In the tunnel, they had 3 different things. Number one, they wanted to make sure everybody going there was qualified to be there. Okay. obviously everybody has a different level of experience to be able to go into that tube. It is just a tube. It's a square tube. It's got a little bit of a hatchway in it that can cause problems. Silt can sometimes get up there, especially in the year. But basically the permit is, I need to make sure that you're, that I'm keeping track of you. So we ask for your driver's license or one of your C cards. And the reason being, and I always say the same thing, it's so when we have to come recover you, we can send something home with the body. But the idea is that there's certain things we want you to do when you go do it. First of all, don't start from the top to go down. We want you to come from the bottom to go up. There's a real reason for it. If anybody's ever had one of those fish tank filters that was just a bubbler, that's kind of what we're looking at. So if a person stirs up everything, all the bubbles going up is going to pull all of that silt up for you. So it's better to have the silt going up in front of you and clearing it out. And that's why it's really clear in there after a bunch of people have been. Second thing is they wanted to limit the number of people. We're only allowed to have 20 people who have tunnel passes at one time. Now there's not going to be 20 people in there. I know there's not going to be 3 or 4 or more people, but it's an idea that it comes down to something very simple. It was their park. I had to make sure that they were comfortable with it. And if you ever look in the permit for the tunnel is available online. You can download it and have it printed out and hand it to us right away. Tells you everything about. But the idea is they wanted me to put together a document that talked those people who might be on the borderline of being able to do it out of doing it. And that was kind of the thing that they wanted from it. So hopefully that answers that question. If not, you can come see me and I'll be happy to answer it again. But advanced open water they wanted to have because the tunnel is deeper than 60 feet. And that's most training agencies.
Okay. Do you have another question? Clarification on the VIP stickers. If somebody is trained and they're certified for doing their VIP, if they have their own printed stickers, will you be able to fill those tanks?
As long as I know whose house I'm going to own if something's wrong with that tank.
Okay.
That's as easy as that. It's one of those things that if it blows up between my legs and I have to go to the hospital, I want to know who I'm sending the bill to. That's as simple as I can put it, as blunt as I can put it. The ones that I don't like is this. It's almost a piece of tape that says this was inspected by a trained professional. Who was that trained professional? If you have your printed ones that say, "Hey, my name's Rich Synowiec and I live at this address. This is the house you're going to own. This is the phone number. If you have any questions, this is something. If you're concerned about it, I can answer all those questions." Great. And someone once asked me on that same thing, if I put my inspector number, doesn't that count? Well, I took that inspector number and it was my own inspector number. And I called up Bill High at PST and I said, can I, and this was a couple years ago, so hopefully they changed it. I said, can I know who is Inspector 2407? And he said, no, I can't give you that information. It's private. And I was done at that point with those because I was getting ones that the hydro was out, but the inspection was good. The VIP was good. That's kind of what flagged it for me. And then a couple of professionals, some of them are listening in on me. We've had conversations about it and we've kind of come with concession where everybody could be happy with it. So I've been doing this for 30 years without incident with tanks and I don't want to have an incident with tanks. But I'm not going to be there and say, hey, you can't fill this. We still fill the 6351s as long as they're visual eddied. So that's kind of where that goes for. Somebody hands me a sticker with that kind of stuff on it, I will be happy to fill it as long as everything's above board. Now, so everybody knows how much I take this seriously. I'm not a jerk about it. If I can't fill your tank, and some of you guys in the room might already know this, if for whatever reason I can't fill your tank, and whatever reason my staff can't fill your tank, if they don't feel comfortable filling that tank, our solution is to give you a rental free. You pay for the air fill and you take the tank. We don't even make you fill out paperwork. We hand you that tank. We take your tank in collateral. We don't have you pay for anything. The idea is if you took all of your life and soul to talk your spouse into going diving that day, I do not want to be the guy that says, hey, your tanks are out of VIP. You need to go diving. And I don't want to take that income away from the dive centers. So if you bring me a tank that's out of VIP, I'll give you a tank that's in VIP. You go dive it, bring it back, get your tank, bring it to your dive center, get it VIP'd. I mean, they get away from all of us. I mean, I've gotten caught. I just went and looked at my tanks I just filled up, and I'm like, guess what? These are out of hydro next month. Might as well get them done now. Oh yeah, hydros aren't running. Well, I'm kind of screwed. Well, I have tanks, but not that many size tanks. So I do try to do stuff a little bit above board. I try to make sure that you're happy diving at White Star. Hopefully that answers the question. If you want to reach out to me
Yes.
privately, we can.
Yeah, that made a lot of sense to the person who asked the question. I have two more questions.
Go ahead.
Since we're getting close to 8 right now.
I got nothing else to do.
Good job. Does the park have any limits on students for classes, or will that still be controlled by the training agencies?
That's still controlled by the training agencies. There's never been a limit of classes for from the park district. They don't know what you're doing. It's a bunch of divers going together. Now, I'm going to tell you that if you're coming out there with more than 10, you're probably not doing the service. And that's just my opinion. I'm not going to, I mean, you might be able to do it. I've been doing this for 30 years and I can't give the same experience to 10 people as I can give to 4. But some of you guys might be better instructors than me. That's the way it goes. But there's no limit. Where we run into problems is I don't have that many picnic tables. You show up with 20 students, everyone from a different household has to have a picnic table, or they can be spread out on their own. They have to be with outside social distancing right now. On a normal day, don't care. I mean, it really doesn't matter to me. As far as don't be a jerk about it. Don't take up all the, I mean, keep your group together. Make sure that you understand that we're sharing it. Something that has come up in the past that I want to kind of clarify, there is no reserving a platform. If you put a buoy on the platform and someone goes out there and starts even using your buoy, I mean, that's kind of a touchy thing. But man, if you're going to put a buoy out there on the platform, just assume it was from me. And you can go out there and use that platform. If you need that platform so bad to keep your people together, then you might want to just wait for it to be empty. But that's kind of where I'm going with that, is to make sure that you know that you don't get the platform, especially since we're going to have limited number of platforms. Even if we're going to do like a class on the platform for beginning pool work, understand that we got to all work together and you got to be out there. You know, I kind of like the idea of instructors working together, because then, like, if you have that and you have to do controlled emergency swimming ascent, you can talk to each other about working together and actually having really good supervision. More people out there, the better.
Will a porta potty be put back down near the ladder entrance anytime soon?
Yes, that porta potty that's by the toilets right now is going to go back to the ladder entrance. Right now, they basically have put it because their normal potties aren't open. And if somebody drove all the way around hoping to get into that porta potty, they didn't want to have accidents.
Okay, great. Any other questions? We've still got the chat open. You can go ahead and put them in there. And we'll see if something pops up.
I am dying to know what happened to my video card.
Okay. Oh, any news on events that might happen this summer, like Women's Dive Day, Dive Hope, and or will they be moved out?
That was my final slide. Okay. I just remember what my final slide was. I really, this is weird. The final slide was going to be about the events. Women's Dive Day is still up. I'm not sure how Ohio Council has donated the food for that, so we haven't gotten that quite figured out yet, but we're still going to do, I mean, Women's Dive Day is still going to be there. We're still going to have on the third week of July, I think it's the 18th, we're going to still, I don't have anything in front of me, guys, I'm sorry. I for some reason, all my screens went black. But the idea behind it is we're going to still have Dive Hope. I talked to Brian Miller a week ago. And Dive Hope is still going to be there. It may not be in the same era of everything. Everybody at Aqualung right now is laid off. So I don't know how that whole thing is working. But he said that they're not sure exactly what prize donations are. And I told him, it's not about prize donations, man. People come out and want to go diving. People want to come out and do stuff. So we're trying to find a workaround on that. As far as the underwater pumping contest, our underwater pumping contest is going to be the first Sunday in October. That hasn't changed. I can't imagine that this is going to go that long. Scuba Heritage Days, it's on the website. It's on the Facebook page. It is going to go in August. And then July, we're going to have Women's Dive Day. So right now, there's nothing that we have that can't be canceled the day before. So it's just a matter of watching the Facebook page, watching the website, before you leave, if you're driving for a long distance, you're welcome to reach out and call us. You're welcome to message me. I'm pretty good about responding, and then make sure that you know ahead of time. But right now, I'd rather have you at least come out diving. We're going to be there staffed. At the worst case scenario, worst case that we were when we were closed down, it was that we've got a barricade out there with tanks, and we spray it all down with sanitizer. We fill your tank, we spray it all down with sanitizer, give you back your tank, and we do everything from a social distance where we're sitting there going, okay, give me that, and then we're good. Just so you know that's you can come out there and dive. Rentals, we were not doing wetsuit rentals up until this week. Now I've got that all in case. We're doing rental. The wetsuits are going to be sterilized in a bleach solution, which is going to suck for the color, but at least it'll keep them clean. Hoods and gloves and boots and all that the same way. So
super. Okay, so I've got one final question.
Okay.
And it actually, I guess there's two. So we'll make
Awesome.
the first one pretty quick. Any sightings of jellyfish since January? I miss them. And any idea of what happened to the frogs?
The frogs are there. They'll be around. If you've been seeing dead frogs, it's because they get trapped under the ice or they get trapped in the snow and they die. They come out early. The jellyfish, I understand. We've only had them, I think, 2 years. But the jellyfish are usually a fall activity. We see them a lot at underwater pumpkin carving. So the end of August, beginning of October, we'll post that it's there if we can find them. Some people got some good pictures of them last year, so that was kind of cool. They're very tiny, tip of your pinky. They're very tiny.
It's like a contact lens.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, and it's been a couple years since we camped across the road. What improvements were put into the campground?
Oh God, that's awesome. So camping's closed right now. I want to make sure that nobody's counting on camping. We had a group that counted on camping, and it was very funny. They counted on camping, and they called me up and they said, hey, we're on our way. We want to camp across the street, but the reservation thing doesn't work. And I told them the camping was closed, and they stayed at a truck stop. They plugged in their camper and everything and stayed at a truck stop. So camping's closed. So let me tell you let's just assume camping's open. What have they done? First of all, best thing ever, they put in a permanent cornhole game right in the middle. I'm not kidding. They did it. They're concrete cornholes, and they actually have a tub with the cornhole throwers in there, so you can have that. That's kind of a fun thing. But what they did was there's water and electric at every single campsite on the camper side, and at the end of the year, they had just started construction on camping and water and electric at every of the other sites. So what their goal is to have water and electric at every site at the end of the year. Now let's talk about the facilities. They've closed the pit toilets completely, and they put in flush toilets, a ladies and a men's room, and they put in showers that are pretty amazing, and they're all free. They're all included in the campsite fee. The water's usually really hot, and it's really warm, and it's done. The only kicker is you hit the button and the shower remains on for 5 minutes, and then for 30 seconds, and then you have to hit the button again, and it's on for 30 seconds. It's the only pain in the ass that's there, but there's an upper and a lower shower, and it's a dual head shower. It's really kind of cool. So I'll take it. If you can get up and take a hot shower, that is just awesome. So many years of camping at White Star, this has been the most awesome thing that's there. And then it's all online reservations. If you get there, and it's not first come, first serve if you show up, a person is able to pay for a site and not show up. You can't just hop on their site. So it's all online. It's all at lovemyparks.com. They have an interactive map. You can click on it. You pay for it. It's all prepay. It's all by credit card, and there's no refunds once you pull the trigger. So you can't not show up and not pay. It's still the same price. They haven't changed any of that, but you can't show up and drop an envelope anymore. You've got to go, you show up and there's a sign, and there's not really good Wi-Fi there. They're working on that yet, but they're, as far as you got to get on your phone and you got to sign in there for that. Okay.
Great. Well, I want to close by saying thank you, Rich, for being our test case for this whole platform. And if anybody has any ideas of things that they would like to see, you can get in touch with us on the Ohio Council Facebook page, Instagram, or Twitter, and just shoot us an idea. The whole idea of this platform is to keep divers connected, keep the information flowing. We all need each other right now. So in closing on my end, I'll say stay safe, everybody, and go dive. Thank you.
Hope to see you soon.
Thank you.
Welcome.